Welcome to the Abundance Journey, the show that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create an abundance mindset that accelerates revenue. Secretly, everything you experience in your life is actually abundance. Once you understand how to activate abundance, you find yourself in flow with your business and clients, so it's easy to create the revenue you want. The Abundance Journey is the only show that activates abundance for you, so you enjoy rapid results in your business. Here's your host, the Abundance Ambassador, Elaine Starling.
I'm going to say something that's kind of radical, and I really mean every single word. If you get this, if you really get this, it means that you're opening up to receive abundance in all forms. And that's what I want for you. Every single thing in your life is both love and abundance. Now, I know that's a really bold claim, and it's totally true. Everything is made up of love. And that love is what creates the abundance we experience. Now, I think it is kind of like a sequence. It starts with gratitude, which leads to love, which creates abundance. It's almost a connect the dots kind of thing. The Abundance Journey show is designed to demonstrate all the ways that abundance is showing up for you and how you can align with it, experience it, create it, and share it. And that's why I love meeting with experts of all kinds, because they really know how to create abundance for others. And I got to tell you, what is true in one area of your life, like if you're making abundance in your business, then it streams over into every other area of your life and vice versa. So I'm going to stretch you a little bit today, because you deserve to receive abundance in all forms. I am totally thrilled that we get to chat with Ernesto Mandowsky today. Because for one thing, this guy's freakishly brilliant. As the founder of the $1 Million Machine, Ernesto creates a sequence of abundance for his clients. How does he do that? He helps service providers scale their business by designing systems that improve revenue, retention, profit, and peace of mind. And when those business owners have that kind of an experience, it's because they created a similar experience of abundance for their clients. See, systems and processes make it easy to create abundance for other people, which creates abundance for you. It's a win-win. Ernesto's personal mission is to make it really easy for everyone to access business operations resources so they can create more abundance for themselves and for others. Ernesto, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you, Elaine. I'm ecstatic to be here.
We are going to have such a good time because, most people don't really look at systems and processes and structure and all that and think abundance. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. This is really right on the money and just what people need to understand, because often people who are in the, let's call them softer categories, who are more healers, they just aren't so comfortable with the business structure and organization. And people who are really fixated on structure and the bottom line and organization and all that don't understand the energy part of it that comes
Correct.
To play. So I know we are going to have a fabulous conversation. I promise I won't keep you here all day, even though I'll be tempted. Even though.
We probably could stay here all day, though.
I know we could. I know. This is going to be such a blast. Now, before we get started, I want to make sure we set our intention, which is what we want to create and how we want to feel as we're creating it. Our intention has a very specific structure because we're in collaboration. We are partners with the God of your understanding. And so the way I structure my intention, I start with in love and light as an acknowledgement to the God of your understanding. We know you're here. We know you're helping out, because it's not like Ernesto and I have a script. We are just being divinely guided to share these concepts with you to optimize your experience of abundance. It's flowing through us. It's not about us. So by structuring this intention, it gets us all on the same page, syncs up our energy, and we have an incredible conversation without a script. Yay. So after that intro, I state the intention, which is almost like typing into a spiritual GPS. This is where we want to go and how we want to feel. Then I say thank you. And then I say it is done as a reminder to me and to all of us that we did the hard part of stating the intention. Then we're going to hold it in total silence for 78 seconds. That's really important because today's quick-paced life, the research shows that the average person has a shorter attention span than a goldfish. Seriously. I put it down to television and all the quick cuts, Oh my gosh, they're all the demands on our time and the phones ringing off the hook and the emails and the texts and all of this stuff bombarding us. It's really hard to hold your focus for a period of time. So here are 2 little tips that will help you get through those 78 seconds. The first one, 3 tips. First one, never say that it's hard. Always say it's going to be fast, easy, and fun, because whatever you declare something to be, it turns out to be that way. So fast, easy, and fun, that's where we're going. The second tip, pick 2 or 3 words out of the intention that just feel expansive and uplifting and joyous to you. And repeat those 2 or 3 words over and over again, because that is the energy, that's the vibe that we want the divine to lock in on. That's where we're going. That's what we want to create. The third thing to do is notice what's happening in your body, because your body's a great big receiver. And it's getting in all kinds of information. You might feel goosebumps. You might feel the hair on the back of your neck stand up a little bit, or a wave of heat. Anything like that is brilliant. All that means is that the divine is already starting to move the energy in the direction that we want it to go. So, are you ready to play, Ernesto?
I'm ready. Let's get rolling.
Okay. In love and light, we hold the intention that we master loving routines that enrich our lives and enhance our relationships so we experience fulfillment and abundance in every area of life. Thank you, divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. We give thanks, and so it is. Wow, there was a lot of energy around that. And I got a really clear message. Very interesting. On the surface, it looks as though Ernesto and I are at kind of opposite sides, right? I'm talking a lot of spiritual stuff, and Ernesto is very much in the processes, the systems, the infrastructure, the setup, the feet on the street stuff. And I got this very clear message. We're using different words, and we mean exactly the same thing. So I can't wait to see how this conversation unfolds. It's going to be spectacular. Now, Ernesto, you've been doing this for quite a while, and you've worked with a lot of really cool companies. Why are you so passionate about helping people get their systems, their structure, all of that in place?
I think technology is extremely powerful. With really small changes and shifts, you can unlock massive potential. And that's not just a spiritual buzzword. That is actually, if I spend 5 minutes setting up an automation, a sales automation, I am saving hours of work. So actual dollars and cents here, not just woo woo feel good, but like, no, serious money.
Yeah,
So I love
absolutely.
technology because of that capacity to transform someone's life.
And people don't realize that it's there at their fingertips. A lot of people are very nervous and frightened by technology, especially now with AI. And we hear all these, futuristic horror stories about what AI is going to do to us. And yet, like anything, medicine can be good for you, but if you take too much of it, it's not so good for you.
Yeah.
So, Ernesto, we're talking about a lot of stuff here. Obviously, the name of the show is The Abundance Journey. I have never met two people who defined abundance exactly the same way. Given the kind of work that you do with your clients, how would you define abundance?
Abundance is, in my opinion, I've never been asked this question. the total recognition of what you believe is possible. And the crazy part is, like, once you say, I can see a $3 million company in my future, like, that is an abundance mindset. And, when you hit that top of that mountain, when you hit the 3 million, it's funny, you're going to like recreate a new definition of abundance. But I think it's the total recognition of your next iteration of potential.
Yeah, I love that. I love that description, because one of the things that I was shown, often we feel jealous. We see somebody who's got a New York Times bestselling book, or we see somebody who's got a really thriving business and we're not there yet. We see somebody who's got all their systems mapped out and everything's implemented. And we're like, oh my gosh, am I ever going to get there from here? And I got this awareness. It's kind of like parents with a young baby, like a pre-verbal baby, and you see the parent, they're like, do you want your binky? No. You want a bottle? No. You want your blankie? No. Okay. They're problem solving. They're trying to help the kid feel loved and safe and important. And when you witness that out there in the world, you see anybody who is experiencing what you want to experience, it's the divine saying, honey, you want this? Does this look good to you? Would this light you up enough for you to commit and take action and stay focused on this vision? Because I think too often people walk away, they give up, they think that it's not possible. And I love that you're really holding ground for people to show them what is truly possible. Now, I know you've worked with a lot of people and you've probably seen certain common symptoms that they have that is like a red flag to you that there's a definite opportunity for them to put some systems in place. What have you noticed?
Well, the most blaringly obvious story of entrepreneurship is that it's supposed to be chaotic. It's supposed to be overwhelming. You are wearing 8 hats. They're telling all the stories. And because they are telling these are the stories society tells us, we program them in our minds and we say, oh, I need to wear 8 hats. So I need to be overwhelmed. So I need to, like, it keeps you're staying in the cycle. And it's all bullshit. You don't have to, but everyone who comes to me is doing that, or they like want to be overwhelmed. They want to validate they want to be validated. And so, there's a part of me that, yes, wants to see them. But there's this other part of me to say, cut the crap, build your system and hire someone and pass off the task and go do what you and only you can do, which is be the embodiment of what you're trying to put out into the world.
I love that. And you said something, I'm going to say it a slightly different way than what you said. What I heard you say is that a lot of entrepreneurs in particular develop this false sense of thriving because they're overworked, because they haven't put systems in place.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Yeah, one of my favorite books is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. I mean, he's absolutely brilliant. And I loved how he basically did himself out of a job. And in the book, he describes how you work through the process to come up with what your processes are, what your systems are, and how you get other people to do the problem solving the way you would have. And then they can do all of the follow-up for you. You don't have to do it yourself. Now, there's always something I've noticed that when we want our external world to shift and change, there's always something that has to change inside us. We have to let go of something, let go of a belief, let go of something in order to experience that transformation. What do you find entrepreneurs must be willing to do? And it's really a mindset shift. What does that look like in your experience?
The absolute thing that they must be willing to do is willing to let go of everything they think they need to do. and you know, you answered the question with a question, but entrepreneurs don't need to set up the technology, do the finance, do the sales, do the marketing, they don't need to do all of it. Entrepreneurs need to advance the business forward.
Yeah, they need to be the creative force. They need to be the vision. So that makes all the difference. Yeah, I remember when I first started doing my show, I didn't have an email campaign that went out with autoresponders to let people know who are my guests, remind them of the date and the time of the interview, the link to get in, you know, and ideas of how to promote their episode. I didn't have any of that. And then I finally put that in place. And wow, what a huge relief. It's very helpful for the guests. It's informative. It's useful. It might be a little too much, but you know, I'd rather provide more value than not enough value. And to me, it's a way of being truly loving and supportive of my guests. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs have an opportunity to step back and think, okay, if I truly want to serve my clients to the best of my ability, and it's more than clients, it's also the vendors, it's the community, it's your family, it's everybody, it's you too. What would you recommend somebody do in order to step back and get that bigger picture perspective and start working through which systems and processes they really need to create?
Do you like food, Elaine?
I do.
Do you like going to fancy restaurants?
On occasion, yes.
On occasion. And so I bet on occasion, when you do go to that fancy restaurant, it's a place where the server, they welcome you, they greet you, they offer you a drink, or they offer you, you know, they ask you about any allergies, they prompt you with a menu, they walk you through the experience, what they could expect, they check in on you. It's really a remarkable experience. And so for the people that are listening, when it comes to thinking through the systems, I would invite them to think of their business as a fine dining experience, or think about it. Like, how does each step of that process, is it a fine dining experience? And actually sit down and like take a paper and like bullet out each of the steps. And that's where it starts, because as they're mapping out the steps of transformation, or the steps of service, they're going to write out a part like, you know, have the onboarding call, or have the interview, right? Like you carefully designed this podcast episode, brought so much more than the average podcast host. But so by listing it out, you could bring this intention to the thing that you are delivering, and it'll be very obvious where you need to, you know, oh, this is really difficult to do. Wherever it's tough and painful is probably where a system is perfectly opportune for.
Ooh, that's a writer downer, where it's tough and painful. And you know, that is such an important message, because where it's tough and painful in our lives is where we need to focus more love and more support and more intention. That's the biggest growth opportunity, is always where we're feeling the most discomfort. And so I love what you said, because it parallels perfectly everything that we talk about in the energetic world. And I read a fabulous book called Unreasonable Hospitality, and they do have a fine dining restaurant. And man, oh man, the things that they did and the refinements they made to create a truly unique experience for their diners. I mean, no wonder they get booked out like a year in advance. Just amazing.
I used to work with the original Dreamweaver.
You did? Awesome.
Actually, the first Dreamweaver, I used to work with her, and she used to tell me of the stories, and it's like, whoa, that's wild.
Yeah, talk about inspiring, because you are creating such an enriching environment and it's really engaging other people. Oh man, I also read another book and I'm trying to remember. It's about the baseball team, the Savannah Bananas. And
Ooh,
it's
Moneyball?
no, God, I'll come up with it. But it's a fabulous book too, because he was like, we've just got a regular old baseball team and none of them have ever managed to survive and thrive in Savannah. We got to do something different. And so he totally mixed it up. He made it all about entertainment and family. And he gave, everybody on the team is an ambassador for the team, and they're empowered to do outrageous things to get the audience engaged. And they've got like dad cheerleaders, dad bod cheerleaders. They got, you name it. They've really gone above and beyond to create a unique experience that engages their audience. So they are active participants and co-collaborators in creating the experience of the ball game. They've
Fans
really
first.
Fans first, yes, fans first. Brilliant book. Highly recommend it. And I love what you're up to. So, Ernesto, are you working with companies to kind of create this fans first and unreasonable hospitality kind of experience with your clients?
Yeah. Well, I believe, just like you said, you want to change the outside, you got to change something inside. So when I look at our universe, when you look at a company's universe, I think of 5 levels. The first level is the transformation. The transformation is the thing that you are standing for. It is the creation of a website, the building of a business system, the coaching service that you provide, whatever it is. There are steps of service that you must list out to create this transformation. We'd mentioned that earlier. Once you're very clear on that, the second level is your acquisition. It's identifying the people that are connected to your audience. And so when you identify those relationships that you want to nurture, you can now start to organize, like, where do you want to put your attention? Who do you want to reach out to? What fans do you want to connect with? Who's going to help get you to that customer? These first 2 levels are, it's kind of like the internal. It's within the company. It's a product. It is a sales strategy. And when you're very clear on your product and your sales strategy, you know how many people you could work with. You could know how many contacts you can get in communication with. Now you start to get out into the universe. And you start to play the game. You start to have the phone calls. You start to create some traction, create some action, and you reach the third level. The third level is organization. And you must now start to think about your systems in place to keep track of these relationships, keep track of these projects that you are delivering, keep track of these marketing campaigns that you are sharing out into the world. Without this organization, it all starts to crumble. The fourth level is collaboration. Now your business has a lot of activity. You have 6 different teams in your business: marketing, sales, and product, and client, and ops. And again, you have to bring people into your organization to collaborate with them. And again, this is an external activity. And the 5th level, and it's kind of like the peak here, you think of like a pyramid, is actualization. So when you have total alignment between these 5 areas, you are being the purpose of your business. You like the transformation, you're being the purpose. You are serving that to other people. You're acquiring more customers. You are being organized. You are keeping it all together. If you're not keeping it all together, your company is going to burn out. And so when you recognize how all these 5 elements come together, that's when you create the harmony between the inner, the outer, the system, the purpose, with also kind of like the platform and the tools. And that's why it always starts with, like, you get clear on the transformation and you work your way up.
I love that. I love that. And thank you so much for sharing a very simple structure that just is so logical, so rational, so obvious. And you put it into very concrete terms. I really appreciate that. And I also love that you are making a very direct connection between what we do and what it means. Because if there is no meaning, and the meaning is always, you don't realize this, but the meaning is always, we're creating a loving, supportive environment so people can thrive. That's always the meaning, always. And whatever we're doing is there to feed that meaning.
That meaning.
Yeah. Now, I want you to talk a little bit more about actualization. I get it. I want to make sure everybody listening and watching this gets it.
Yeah. So Abraham Maslow is a famous, I think, American psychologist, and he has this pyramid, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I don't know exactly what's in the middle, but I know it's like, the first thing we need to feel, our human needs is our physical needs: food, shelter, water, oxygen. Then after that, I believe it's security. Like, we need a home that we can feel protected. Then after that is a sense of belonging. Like, you have a connection, you have a community of people where you feel a human need to feel connected. Then I can't remember if there's a fourth, or, we'll say that the top, is there a fourth, Elaine?
I think so, yeah.
What was the fourth?
It's about contribution, really.
Contribution, yes, contributing to society. And then actualization, the peak of it all, is when you have that feeling of oneness with the universe. Like, you are in your purpose, you are contributing, everything is growing. And it's kind of like this, what some people would think of like, oh, that's fairy tale or that's hogwash. But no, it's really true. When you are fully in your purpose, like, time stops and you are just feeling that connection. And in the company, when you actualize, you are not just delivering a product or a service, but you are catalyzing the universe.
You really, truly are. And people love to keep things in little boxes, little tight individual boxes. My work is over here, my family's over here, my hobbies are over here. Oh yeah, and there's that spiritual stuff up there somewhere, and I remember when I go to church, but it's a separate thing. Yeah, no, not so much. Not so much. And the thing that I think most people don't understand, life is not about a one and done. When you put your systems, your processes in place, that's great. It's kind of like you're climbing a mountain. As you figure out what you need, you create a system, you've got it in place, and now you're testing it. It's almost like when a software company releases a new software and they get the early adopters to test it and break it, like deliberately, please break it for us. They want to figure out, where are the holes? Where are the gotchas? What is not working? What could be better? Because that way you're collaborating with your audience, with your clients, your customers, to create something they truly value, and they're invested in your success. So I like the way you're collaborating with your clients to help them create these systems and encouraging them to collaborate with their clients to enhance and refine and improve those systems. That's really important.
Yeah. And what's interesting about these different cycles is that there's different levels of these cycles. There's daily cycles. There's weekly cycles, there's monthly cycles, there's quarterly cycles, there's annual cycles. I mean, there's all these different cycles that are happening not independent of each other. They're all like concentric cycles. You have 7 cycles in a week, you have 4 weekly cycles in a month, you have 3 monthly cycles in a quarter. And at each of these cycles, you have to look at different pieces of the business. Sometimes you look at your tasks, sometimes you look at client support tickets, sometimes you're looking at views on Instagram, sometimes you're looking at your revenue numbers. Like, it's all these different cycles. It's so much information and it's so much feedback that the world is presenting you with. And it's not that we're not allowed to say, I'm overwhelmed. It's just like people using the overwhelm as doesn't excuse them from not having to deal with it. Like, there's so much happening all day, every day, and we can design ways to integrate all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting because people think, well, but I have to be in control of everything. I'm the only one who really knows it, who really gets it. So I have to have my stamp on everything, and I'm going to keep it all. It's all mine. It's all mine. And then they get so overwhelmed and they don't realize that they're being selfish. They're not creating a loving environment and a supportive environment for their clients if they don't let things go and collaborate with other experts on their team to make it happen. And
Correct.
that's a fundamental need that's really missing. Now, I know KPIs are super important. Key productivity, performance indicators, key performance indicators.
I say key purpose indicators, but
Thank you.
I'm a little out there.
I like that. Key purpose, I'm writing it down, purpose indicators, because I was going to say that to me, one of the most important key indicators is engagement. It really is getting that collaboration going with everybody else who's touching your business. The more you have that kind of open, collaborative conversation, the more you build momentum and the more things start to open up for your business. It's really interesting. I've read a lot of Brene Brown's leadership books. She's utterly brilliant. And she talks about how leaders always think that they just have to be bulletproof. They have to have all the answers. They have to be in charge of everything, and they have to know everything. And in reality, when you're willing to be open and vulnerable and admit that you don't know, you look like a real human being, because guess what? Nobody really knows. And the pace of technology is going so fast. You are going to be so much better served collaborating with an expert like Ernesto when you want to put your systems and processes together. That's a whole lot easier from just going at it from scratch. Now, that said, Ernesto, you already gave us a really great tip about sitting down with a piece of paper, mapping out all the things that we have to do to run our business, to get things done, to identify the different systems and processes that could be created for each step along the way. For someone who is getting going, what does progress look like? What's a baby step that we could use that would show us that we're going in the right direction?
It's really funny that you ask that, because here I am. I'm going to give you a tip, and I'm going to say, take another piece of paper, or, put a line. The next section is list out 5 people that you think are connected to your target client. And that's great. And you can write it down. Yeah, some could say that's progress, but real progress is getting up and testing whatever you hypothesized on paper. Call those 5 people and take action. Like, it's all in the action. So it's like, call those 5 people and get a client and put them through that checklist that you laid out.
Yeah.
And that might sound, I may think, I think that's a baby step. Other people might think, oh my God, that's like a PhD level. But in the context of, hey, you're building a business over the next 5 years, like, that is a baby step. And when you see that, hey, I am building a $3 million business, we cannot think of each of these tiny steps as like these massive mountains. Like, we have to detach and just do it. Just keep doing it, and you're going to fail, and you're going to fail, and you're going to keep taking a step, and you're going to just keep moving. You have to keep moving.
Yeah, you're going to refine. I like to say refine instead of fail, because there is no such thing as failure. When you are creating a business, whatever kind of business it is, it could be a coaching business, a speaking business, a brick and mortar business, anything that you're doing in your life, the more you can get other people engaged and involved and tell them what you're working on and the kinds of resources that you're looking for and what you're trying to create and the experience that you want them to have, the more they'll give you input and feedback and support and encouragement and suggestions and ideas. You are not alone in creating your business. And one of the biggest challenges I think a lot of people have, especially entrepreneurs, they definitely feel alone. A lot of leaders feel completely alone, and you're not. You have access to people who really want you to succeed, and they want to be a part of your success. So how great that we can put together systems and processes to collaborate with people. So we truly do deliver these incredible experiences that are life-changing for them and for us. Yeah. Ernesto, you are such an incredibly brilliant and generous guy. I just cannot thank you enough. You offered us an amazing free gift. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Whew. Well, I'm thinking, I can't remember what I shared prior to, but I do know that, on this episode, we started doing some of the work. We listed out a checklist of steps. We, gave another tip of map out a couple of people that you could reach out to. Every month I host a workshop where people come, they do this checklist, they list out the list of referral partners. We set up a weekly workflow so that you start to implement some of that organization that I mentioned earlier. We map out your 6 teams, and I really start to actually build out that structure. And we do that in community, group of 20 to 30 people. And, through completing that, I say, hey, bring your work from that. And I offer free strategy sessions for people to actually design the business model of their future, whatever they want to create. And so every month we have that workshop, and I will include the link for you for anyone who wants to attend. It's totally free. And it's a lot of fun.
That is amazing. That is incredible that that's free. And I assume that it's online over Zoom?
Yeah, it's online.
Awesome. Wow. Ernesto, you're just amazing. That's so incredible, because it is so much easier to do something like this when you can kind of compare notes with what other people are doing. Because then you're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. And I should add this. I should do, it's easier to have something to edit than to start from total scratch. So I love what you're doing. Now, one of the things we always do here at the Abundance Journey, we always turn the tables on our guests, because we know that when we give is when we truly receive the most. So what can we do to support you?
Wow. Share this episode. I don't think many operations people are out there speaking from the spiritual context of the significance of what operations or systems are. Share this with a friend, someone who is building a business and is insanely overwhelmed, because they need to hear the message that they don't need to do this alone. They don't need to carry the team on their back. They can take off one of the hats. They can start to make progress in their business.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now, I'll make sure that all of your contact information and your social media profiles are in the show notes, along with a link to your free gift, so that everyone can connect with you and support you. And I highly, highly, highly recommend that you attend his free workshop, because honestly, that will be a game changer for you in your business. Understanding what's missing and what the hidden opportunities are. I mean, if you don't know, you can't do anything about it. Once you know, there's untold resources available to support you. Ernesto, what a blessing. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Elaine. It was fun.
You've given me a bit of a problem, because I took 3 pages of notes. Now I have to pick just one thing to do the Activate Abundance segment around. So, wow, that was amazing. I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. Now stick around, because we're going to activate abundance in just a moment. Hi, it's Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador, and I know since you're listening to this show or watching this show, The Abundance Journey, you really want to experience more abundance in your life. Well, that's why I wrote the book, 5 Steps to Activate Your Abundance. It's available for sale right now from Amazon, from barnesandnoble.com, and many international sellers. And I want you to pick up a copy, because I'm really opening the kimono here and sharing all of the information you need to experience abundance in every single aspect of your life. The book's divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Meeting the Divine. This is where I share my near-death experience and the conversation I got to have with our higher power during my stroke. In Part 2, Messages from the Divine, I share the best practices that I was given, the secret sauce in how life actually works. And so you understand really why you're here and how you can make the most of your life so you love every single moment. And then in the Part 3 is Partnering with the Divine. That's where I go into each of the 5 steps to activate your abundance and explain exactly why it works so well. So take a moment to pick up a copy. It's available as an ebook, a paperback book, an audiobook, and a video course. So however you like to absorb information, abundance is waiting for you. Don't you just adore Ernesto? I mean, he's so laid back. He's so casual about what he's doing, and what he's doing is so profound. It's so important. He's really changing lives in a unique and different way. I love what he's up to. Now, the step 1 is gratitude. And believe me, I'm so grateful for all the incredible ideas he shared with us. I'm going to go back over this episode, listen to it again, take more notes, and I'm definitely attending his free workshop because OMG, that was good. Step 2, acknowledge something you heard that was a little bit of an aha for you. And he said so many brilliant things. I had a tough time picking just one. But one really stood out to me. And that was when Ernesto said that entrepreneurs are carrying overwhelm like it's a badge of courage, like it's a requirement, like you're not really an entrepreneur unless you're totally stressed out and burnt out and just overwhelmed beyond imagining. And I was like, wow, I know so many people like that. And they think that they're not legit if they aren't super stressed. And yet, what do they want most in their lives? They want freedom. They want to be making a difference in the world. And their existence is polar opposite of what they say they want. So what a great idea that this is the red flag waving, honey, you got a problem. There's an opportunity for you to live a life that is a lot more open and flexible and freeing and successful and effective and profitable. I mean, yeah, I love that. So overwhelm is that red flag to pay attention to. Step 3, appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Well, as soon as you notice overwhelm, you can immediately go, wait a minute, that's a choice that I'm making. I'm deliberately choosing to hang on to something that I probably don't need to hang on to. And when I delegate this, it can be as simple as delegating having your kids make dinner instead of you make dinner. Gets you a little time back, maybe teaches them how to shop for groceries at the grocery store at the same time, teaches them how to clean the kitchen too. What does that do for whoever you're delegating to? It shows that you believe in them, that you trust them, that you support them, that you encourage them, that you see their growth opportunities. You see the vision of who they can be. You're believing in them before they can believe in them. That's a gift. Stop holding back on supporting the people around you by holding a vision of who they can be for you. Wow, that was really cool that Ernesto brought that in. Amazing. Step 4, activate it. We've got 3 different ways to do that. The first one is grab your calendar and schedule time. I want you to schedule time to attend Ernesto's workshop, at least one of them. I want you to schedule time to sit down with that blank piece of paper and fill it out. I consider journaling to also come under scheduling time because often we don't really see what's going on until we write it down. We get it out of our brains, out of our bodies, and just on a discrete piece of paper where we can get an objective perspective. Having that checklist really helps. That's one way. Another way, create a physical trigger like crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe. You know, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, this is a growth opportunity. There's something here for me. This is a gift for me. I need to remember that. So I'm going to attach crossing my fingers, a good luck signal, with overwhelm. Counterintuitive, isn't it? but it works. The third way is to declare what you're going to do. And it really helps if you've got an accountability buddy. Like, you can declare, this is how I'm going to handle things when I feel overwhelmed. And I'm going to really look at my business and see the systems and processes that I can put in place, because I truly want to create this mutually supportive, empowering, loving experience for my relationships and for myself. And I'm committed to that. It's the meaning behind everything I do. Step 5, celebrate your progress. Isn't this amazing? How much opportunity, how many potential experiences there are for you. You're not alone. You do not have to suffer. Suffering is optional. It is not mandatory. It's a choice. Choose to be the love you are. Choose to show up for yourself and show up for your clients by putting systems and processes in place that serve everyone. You deserve it. When you have that in place, you have a lot more freedom, you have more time, you have more energy, you inspire other people. So this is something well worth celebrating. You are. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time for the Abundance Journey.
You've been listening to the Abundance Journey Show with Elaine Starling. Visit theabundancejourney.com/podcast gifts to access today's gift, as well as gifts from our other guests. Tune in every week to activate abundance in your life and business. If something resonated with you, please share it with your friends so they can benefit too. Keep activating abundance, and we'll see you in the next episode.